Hey, what's up, bro? I just saw your text, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of a behind the scenes. I'm putting all my stuff out on the bed. The ladies are here too. I'm just about to kind of organize this mess, and I'm gonna start recording in about 5 minutes. It's gonna be a very long video because I have a whole bunch of stuff to show. So stay tuned, my friend. It's gonna happen tonight. Hey, what's up, YouTubers? And welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts collection overview video. And today, by request, I'm going to be going over my horror figure collection. This is going to be an update to that. I've showed these many times before on the channel, but this is going to be the complete overview with some of the things I added recently over the past 6 months, past year, whatever. I have kind of it looks like a mess to you guys, but it's an organized mess. I know what I'm going to be pulling from here. There's a lot of different piles. I got some stuff behind me on the floor, some stuff over on the side. I got a couple pops I'll show. At the very end of the video, I'm going to show you guys some stuff I have hanging on the wall. And you can see I got my frames back up. I'm starting to add posters back to those. After I sold all my Scream Factory posters, I'm going to add other stuff to that. So let's jump into the first part of my collection, which is going to be the Friday the 13th figures from Neca. And I do have part 1 hanging on my wall. I'm going to start with part 2. And this is a really awesome box that they put this one in. For those of you new to my channel, I do keep my figures boxed. And there's several reasons for that. I know I'm going to get comments in the section down below. Why don't you take out your figures? Why don't you enjoy them? Well, I do enjoy them, and I keep them boxed for a couple reasons. 1, to keep the dust off. 2, the packaging is just as important as the figure, in my opinion. And 3, a lot of these figures come with little accessories and like little knives and what have you. And if I open these, there's a really good chance that I will lose stuff. So this is part 2, Sackhead Jason. You can see it comes with a couple of different head sculpts. There's the deformed Jason. Also, I'm going to do my best to keep the glare off, but it's going to be pretty tough to do, so kind of bear with me on that. There's Pamela Voorhees. It does come with a fire pit. Comes with a couple of accessories, a pitchfork, a bloody machete, and a bloody pickaxe. You can see there how they have him posed. You can build a little shrine to Jason's mother. That is part 2. Part 3, I actually have 2 of these because one was gifted to me recently. So I'm just going to open up and show you the one of them. This is part 3, 3D. It has a lenticular plate on the front. It doesn't really change the picture in the background. It just kind of gives it that 3D depth with the blade coming through. I'm going to try to move a little quickly in this video. There's a lot to show, and this is going to be a very, very long video. The way that Neca presents these figures, it's already displayed. To me, I really don't need to take these out of the box. It shows you everything you need to see. Even the weapons are kind of displayed there. You have a bloody monkey wrench, another knife, another pitchfork, machete, axe. You can see the bloody, dirty clothing on Mr. Voorhees. The next one here is the final chapter, part 4. You get the tombstone for Pamela Voorhees. Again, you get a lot of weapons. You get an interchangeable head. There's the corkscrew with blood on the tip, an extra hand, So you can hold some of these weapons, and look at that dead stare. Neca really does a good job with their figures. The paint, the sculpts, everything is very, very good. That's part 4 of the final chapter. There's a couple of different part 5s. This is the Dream Sequence mask cover. There you see the blue chevrons on Roy's mask. Roy Burns was the killer in part 5. Couple of weapons and an interchangeable hand. There you can see some of the poses. That is part 5, the first part 5. And here is the second part 5. This one shows Jason with the worms coming out of his mask. Double-sided axe covered in blood. I really love this figure because they give you several different masks you can choose. Also a ice pick and a Jason Voorhees gravestone. Really cool figure. Here is part 6. Jason Lives. This is a really good figure too. You can see the zombie Jason pretty much. There's this little tool pouch, his knife holder, comes with a machete. There's his headstone again. Also comes with that piece of the iron fence that energizes him with lightning in the beginning of the film when they were trying to dig him up. They are taking pre-orders for part 7 right now, so currently part 7 is not available as I'm recording this. Part 11 was Freddy vs. Jason. Another film I had a lot of fun with. This one comes with some pretty cool stuff. You got a couple of different masks you can switch out. And there's a teddy bear. There's a flame that you can attach to the machete to look like the machete's on fire. And then there's another one that's soaked in blood. And there on the back you can see how the flame goes on that machete, which looks really good to me. I think that's great. And then when you unmask him, that's what he looks like. And the last, well, I have 2 more from Neca. This is part 12 from 2009. This is the, I guess, remake or reimagining of the film. You can see that there's a sack you can put over his head or the mask. Another double-bladed axe, screwdriver, hammer, fire poker, machete. And then we can see how they pose him on the back. And that's what he looks like without his mask or sack. And the last Neca figure is the video game figure. This used to play a little song when you open it up, but the battery is dead. But this is what the Nintendo Friday the 13th Jason looks like, with kind of a, I don't know if it's hard to tell from the phone that I'm recording on, but he has a light blue mask and a purple kind of a jumper, I guess. And then there's a Pamela. And it just comes with a couple of basic weapons. You get a knife and an axe. I'm not sure how to change out the battery in here, if it's even possible, but when you would open up this little gatefold, it would kind of play the ditty for the game. but that's long burnt out. I have two more from Friday the 13th. The first one is from Mezco Toys, and this is Friday the 13th Part 3. I'm going to pause it for a minute to pull this out. These Mezco figures are really nice. Comes with like a slip cover that goes over the whole unit, and then it also comes with a display stand underneath, and then it does come with some accessories. You get the bloody axe, another head and another mask, some hands that you can interchange to hold different weapons. You have the pitchfork and a bloody machete. Really good detail. You can see the bottom of the boots. You can see the treads have kind of dirt and mud between them. Clothes look a little dirty and disheveled. These are really cool figures. And that is the Friday the 13th Part 3 from Mezco Toys. And the last Jason figure that's sitting on my bed is the Part 2 from Sideshow Collectibles. These are 12-inch toys. And these are very expensive. Once they go out of print, they can go for a couple hundred to several hundred bucks. And this is Sackhead Jason. It looks really, really good. You can see kind of a blood spatter on the cloth. There's another stand. You can stand him up. Some weapons there. You can see that eye piercing through that sack. That's what he looks like without the sack on his head. And then there's other things you can buy. There's the shrine for Pamela Voorhees. You can buy that separately. It doesn't come with this figure. And there's also a separate figure for Pamela Voorhees. So that is it for the Friday the 13th figures that are on the bed. I'll show you some more at the end when I go through and do like a little room tour. But let's move on to Freddy Krueger. So the first one is a beautiful boxed piece with the original poster art. Really love that box. This is the original, A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Freddy, one of the all-time best killers, villains in a horror film. You can see some of the accessories from the movie. He has his fedora hat. There's a replaceable head. And there's a couple of... There's a torn off face, a mask. There's the phone with the tongue that comes out. And there's the finger that he lops off, and that green ooze comes out. He says, "Tina, watch this." And then he cuts off his own finger, and that green pus or ooze comes out of there. And I have a Part 3 that I picked up at an FYE a couple of years ago for 20 bucks. Anytime I see these anywhere for 20 bucks, I snatch them up. And this is from Part 3, The Dream Warriors. This is when Freddy was wearing his tuxedo. And then you can see the house there in the back, a little model of it. And that artwork is just beautiful. There you can see him kind of posed up. Looks like he's licking his blades. Part 5, the Dream Child, is another kind of a tuxedo figure with real cloth clothing. And then there's the baby and the salad. There's the chef's hat and the little platter. And again, I picked this one up at FYE. 20 bucks is a steal if you can ever get it. This is usually what the original prices go for, 30 bucks. So if you can get it for 20, I'll buy that all day long. But that's what he looks like. You can have him posed up with the baby and the salad. Then I have a couple of figures here from Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. There is the burnt skin Freddy with his hat. And then the second one from Freddy's Dead the Final Nightmare is the pre-burnt skin. This is what he looked like before he was attacked by the neighborhood parents and burned. I thought that was a pretty cool figure. Then I have a couple of versions of the video game from Nintendo. There you can see, if you wanted to pause that and read the little tagline. And it looks like the computer scoreboard, or the Nintendo scoreboard at the top. And in the video game, instead of a red and green sweater, it's kind of an orange and yellow. You can kind of see the 8-bit graphics in the background for the house. And the last one was a Toys R Us exclusive with that little silver circle sticker there at the bottom. And it's again a Nintendo 8-bit figure. This time it has cloth clothing, and it's a really beautiful piece. I really like it. It says it's based on the classic 1990 video game appearance. So that is it for the Friday the 13th stuff. Let's move on to some miscellaneous stuff. These next two figures are from a company called BIM Toy, and they're kind of an independent toy company. They release figures in very limited low quantities, and I think like 350 a piece or 500 usually is what they limit their pieces to. And this was a line called Lords of Abaddon. If you're interested in that, you can go to bimtoy.com. It comes in these cool black boxes. And the first one is called Astaroth, kind of a heavy metal or a black metal, I don't know, like a lead singer or something. He's holding up the horns there on the side. He's got kind of a satanic tattoo on his chest and forehead. These are very heavy figures. I like to keep them boxed. They call it an adult collective, not a toy. And then the second and last one was the Baphomet. And it's a goat type figure. You can see the hooves. Another kind of a tattoo or a carved into the flesh symbols for the Dark Lord. So those were my only two. I think they have one or two other figures in the line so far. So if you guys are interested in that, go check out bimtoy.com. The next one here I forgot to show with the Friday the 13th stuff. This was a fairly newer release over the last year or two from Neca. And this was kind of the zombie Pam Voorhees when she comes out of the lake from part 3. It looks really good. The clothing looks absolutely disgusting, like it's been zombified. I mean, they really did a good job on this. Pretty gross, pretty awesome. And then I have a little stack here. These are just kind of one-offs that I have one of from the franchises. First off, this is called the Sea Ghost from Nemo Toys. And this is kind of a throwback to the 60s type cartoons. I think this was just another kind of a fan-made toy. I thought this looked really cool, so I picked it up. I mean, it just has that 50s or 60s vibe, cartoons from that era. And let me put Pamela here to the side. We'll keep moving on. I have a lenticular cover from the It remake. There's Pennywise, and then the red balloon that says I love dairy. This was a GameStop exclusive. Open her up, and that's what you get. So I think that's really cool. There's an extra head sculpt. Open up his mouth and show all those nasty teeth. You do get a red balloon. A couple sets of hands there. And then there's a torn off arm. Pretty cool. There's a couple of different ways you can pose him. And recently I just picked up this Nightbreed figure of Dr. Decker. I think that looks pretty awesome. Comes with plenty of weapons and a little briefcase you can hold some of his knives. I have a Dr. Herbert West from Reanimator. That's a very good likeness to Jeffrey Combs. Comes with this pocket protector and some writing utensils there. Comes with the dead cat. Bloody shovel. Bloody pan with the head. And then the reagent. Very, very cool. One of my favorite horror icons of all time. This is Captain Spalding, played by the late, great Sid Haig. I love this figure, it's so good. It even has a little bag of his chicken. It's beautiful. Great movie too. And I have a zombie pirate from The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog. Look at that artwork, man, that is unbelievable. And let me see if I can get in good here so you can see this zombie pirate. And his pirate sword, and it's rusty, kind of dinged up. There's the sheath. Too bad they didn't have a couple of the little gold coins. So that is the zombie pirate from The Fog. I have a couple of Halloween figures, and this is from the 2018 Halloween. This is called the Ultimate Michael Myers. Includes a light up flickering pumpkin. And I thought this movie was very good. I thought it was very brutal. Comes with a lot of accessories here. There's a couple of extra heads. Well, there's one of his victims there on the left. There's an extra head you can put on Mike. There's some murder tools. There's a Judith Myers headstone. There's the flickering pumpkin and some extra hands you can switch out. This is the original Halloween 2 from, I believe, 1979. And that looks really, really good. You get a couple of different head sculpts. Another pumpkin, some hands, some tools. This box was beat up pretty good when it came in the mail. Somebody, believe it or not, somebody shipped this in a bubble mailer. It was definitely not a collector who shipped this off, because a collector would treat these with more respect. And the last one I have is the Ultimate Laurie Strode. And she looks really good, even in her aging state. Jamie Lee Curtis is beautiful. I thought in the 2018 film they made her a little bit too timid. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I was glad to see her in the movie. So let us move on to the next pile. The next one is Annabelle Comes Home. I thought this was a great figure, a really cool idea that they put the Annabelle doll in a little display piece. With some cool props. There's a couple of different head sculpts there. A tarot card. Very, very nice piece. Glad to have that in the collection. I have an Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. This is Hero Ash. And this is a segue into the Evil Dead figures that I have. You can see the really good likeness to Bruce Campbell, and those extra head sculpts are really cool. Necronomicon, the boomstick, you got everything you need, and the packaging is beautiful. Some of the other Evil Dead figures that I have, this is from Evil Dead 2. This is also Hero Ash. Comes with that deer head. Got the chainsaw arm, the boomstick. Comes in this cool blister pack. I always wanted to get Evil Ash, but I couldn't find him in the wild, so I'm sure I could always pick that up on eBay. 99% of these figures I got out in the wild, either at FYE or back when Toys R Us was back in business. And some of these were gifts from friends and fellow YouTubers too. Also from Evil Dead 2, I have Henrietta in Deadite form. And that is an awesome figure. It's very heavy. It's a very solid figure. Look at that accessory there. This is really beautiful. Here is a box set. It's another Hero Ash. You can see the Deadite on the left and Deadite on the right. It's a little tape recorder, the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. You can see the axe splattered in Deadite green blood. And I have a couple from the TV show that was called Ash vs. Evil Dead. It didn't last long enough. I thought it was a good show. There's an aged Bruce Campbell. Still looks good though. Still hanging on. Still looking good, Bruce. There's a head sculpt that you can switch out. There's this mechanical hand. It wouldn't be Evil Dead without the boomstick and the chainsaw. And the last one is the Value Stop costume or uniform, whatever you want to call it. There's the little doll that attacks him in season 1, early on in season 1. And these figures are phenomenal. Look at that likeness from Bruce. That's really good. There you can see, you can pose that the little toy baby on Ash Williams' nose. So that was it for the Evil Dead. Let's move on. I have a couple figures here from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on my bed, and at the very end of the video I'll show you some more of the figures that are hanging on my wall. but this was the Atari 2600 video game figure. I love that cover too, of Leatherface. You can see him in his green glory chainsaw and kind of like a, looks like it's a vinyl apron. And you can see him posed on the back in different ways. This video game is very hard to find. It's very expensive. Not this figure, I'm talking about the video game for the Atari. I think it was the Atari. If you are looking for it, if you're a collector for old games, you're going to have to pay a couple hundred to several $100s just for the cartridge. If you get one complete with box and manual, who knows what you're going to be charged for. But I mean, it's very, very rare, very expensive. And the last one on my bed is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original from 1974. This is the Hitchhiker collector's set. And you remember in the beginning of part 1, the hitchhiker catches a ride in the van, and he does all kinds of crazy stuff. He cuts his hand with Franklin's blade, and he takes pictures, or takes a picture, and he tries to sell it to Franklin. In part 2, there's a dancing corpse on top of the truck as they're kind of playing chicken with those yuppies at night. Well, the hitchhiker is actually the corpse in part 2. A lot of people don't know that, but some trivia for you. But you can see the straight razor and kind of like a buck knife or a jackknife, and he's got the old time camera, a couple of pouches. And this is a really cool set. I was glad that they released this one. So let's move on to the next stack. So I'm getting into kind of a miscellaneous pile here, and these figures aren't necessarily horror figures per se, but they're kind of horror related, and they're awesome figures. I wanted to share them in this video. And the first one is Iron Maiden's Eddie the Trooper. I always thought he looked really cool, and this figure is awesome. You can see that he's kind of war-torn, his blade is bloody, he's got dirt all over his clothes, and it is a beautiful piece. And unfortunately, this is the only Iron Maiden figure I have. They always had really cool covers, album covers, and there's figures for each of the covers that they had over the years. These are pretty expensive. If you don't get them right away for the regular price, they go way up in price on eBay. So I don't know if I'm going to chase those for the price they're going for, but that's a cool piece. Another album cover is from SOD, the Stormtroopers of Death from the early 80s. And this is Sergeant D, kind of their mascot. And I thought this figure was awesome too. I knew as soon as I heard they were releasing this, I knew I was going to buy it. It's a really, really cool piece. And it's a great album too. It's not for the snowflakes though. It's very, I'll just leave it at that. We don't want to get political on the channel. And I have a couple of Misfits figures. This is called the Crimson Fiend, a character that they stole from the Crimson Ghost, which was a movie from the 40s. And then here is the black and white version of that same figure. These came out, I believe, in 2014. Yeah. And then they were just recently re-released as boxed figures. And they're a little bit different. They're not exactly the same sculpt, and they're not using the same cloth for the robes. And I'll give you a better side-by-side here in a minute. Actually, I like the blister pack ones a little bit better. I'll just show you quickly side-by-side the difference. It looks like the blister pack on the right has better quality, but they're both pretty cool. Here's a side-by-side of the black and white figure. And here's one from a DVD box set. This is from Emilio Miraglia's Killer Queen box set from No Shame. And this one came with the Red Queen, little figurine on the inside. I just wanted to show this one in the video. I have some Funko Pop figures. I don't really necessarily consider these horror figures, and I don't collect these. These have been gifts from my kids over the years. So I'll just go through really quickly and show you which ones I have. Miss Heidi wants to join us. I have Freddy Krueger. I have the Jack Skellington candy skull, or whatever they call those. I have Jason Voorhees. I have Ash Williams. Leatherface. A Deadite from Army of Darkness. And my newest one, probably my favorite one, is the black and white Alfred Hitchcock. This one isn't necessarily horror either. It's not horror at all, but it's one of my favorite figures. It's the Batman figure from 1989, and it is the video game version of the character, and it looks beautiful. Those colors are just phenomenal. This is one of my favorite characters, figures. I love that purple and blue like that together, the teal and the kind of the lavender and dark purple. It looks really good. Another one of my favorite figures is this Godzilla. It's another video game figure, and it's another beautiful. I love the colors on this one too. It's kind of teal and gray and white. There's some blacks in there too. It looks really good. And then this is a Spawn figure. This was gifted to me several years ago when I first started my channel. I can't remember who sent this to me, but this is called Peter Pumpkin Eater from McFarlane Monsters. And that villain looks really cool. He's got bodies stuffed in a pumpkin. I'm not really sure what this is from, if it was from a movie, or maybe it was from a graphic novel, but that looks really cool. Next, we will get into the Universal Monster figures, and these are in no particular order. This is Lon Chaney in the Phantom of the Opera. Very, very good likeness to the villain in the film. Next one was a Toys R Us exclusive, and this is the Mole People. Comes with a little stand. You can display him. It's very heavy pieces. These figures are very solid and very, very well put together. Very high quality. The next one is the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Comes with a crown and a scepter and another little display piece. You can stand him up on that, I don't know what that is, tile or brick on the bottom. Another one of my favorites. This is the Metaluna Mutant from This Island Earth. Very, very nice detail on these figures. We have Mr. Hyde, Another heavy piece. You can display him with that chimney brick little section down there at the bottom. He has a top hat. The Wolfman. They really did a great job with these figures. Lucy Westerna, the Monster Hunter. She has a nice little display piece there. You can stand her up. A couple of weapons. Another one of my favorites. This is Creature from the Black Lagoon. Very heavy piece. Boris Karloff, the Mummy. Looks really good. And the last one for this Universal Monsters lot is another Boris Karloff, the Mummy. So let us move on. Okay, we're getting right down to the nitty-gritty here, and the next piece was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from about 5 years ago, I think. Maybe a little bit longer. 2013 this came out. And this is not necessarily a horror figure, but it is kind of horror related because Azog scared the crap out of me. It's one of my favorite horror franchises. This is from the Hobbit, and there he is holding the king's head in all his glory. It's a beautiful piece. I got a really good deal on this. This was on my wish list for a long time, and finally when I saw the price I was comfortable with, I pulled the trigger and bought it. It was limited to 2,600. I got number 2039. Comes with this little band, which I took off already just to save a little time. And then Azog's son is Bolg from The Hobbit. And there's Bolg and Gandalf. And Bolg was also in The Lord of the Rings. So I wanted to definitely include this in the video to show you guys. I got a big box here from Mondo. I bought this secondhand. I remember when this was available for pre-order. I missed out on it at the time and it sold out. This was Alfred Hitchcock. And this might be a little bit difficult to show because the box is so big and there's a lot of plastic. But this is a 12-inch figure of Alfred Hitchcock. Comes with a raven. Comes with a butcher knife. Comes with his clapboard. A couple of different hands. Some cigars. And there you can see the man himself, dressed in black. Definitely one of my favorite pieces. It also does come with a director's chair in the back that you can unfold and seat him. So I wanted to show that. And I got one more thing on the bed to show you guys, and then we'll kind of do a little room tour, and we'll call this a video. So if you made it this far, I'm curious to see how many people watch the whole video. Comment down below, #Sinatra. This is the last figure I'm going to show on my bed. I just picked this up and showed it recently in an update video, but it's a beautiful piece. I love it. So again, if you made it this far, comment down below, #Sinatra. I'm going to pause it here and we're going to do a room tour. Okay, I have a couple of figures that I have in glass display boxes. They're a little dusty, so bear with me, but this is from Knucklebonz, and that's King Diamond. It's a really cool figure. It's got some pretty good detail to it. I also have the CD in the back, but it tipped over. That's Fatal Portrait, one of the best CDs ever. I have this pretty cool James Cagney figure, which was from a company called F&B, I think from the 1980s. And I forgot to show this bad boy too. This is The Legend of Crystal Lake from Sideshow Collectibles. That's the big figure there. Comes with a removable head. And you can actually put this head on. Comes with some extra hands, extra weapons, and then I have that little Freddy Krueger that talks. You push the button down here. I have a Jason over here.
Jason, Mother is talking to you.
Wanted to make sure I didn't forget those. I have a couple figures here from Redman Toys. On the left is Dirty Harry Callahan. These are a little pricey. And then we have Blondie from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Really nice. And these are the boxes they come in. Nothing really special about the boxes. I still like to keep them in a closet. Then up here I have some of my Friday the 13th blister packs. That is from part 1. That's Pamela Voorhees and young Jason. This was a 2015 convention exclusive from San Diego, I believe. And that figure has really gone up in price. I think it's like $400 or $500 for that figure now. You might be able to find it cheaper, but that's about the ballpark that's in. In part 2, I have Sackhead Jason. Part 5 is Roy with his dirty clothes. Looks really good. I have another video game figure. I have the Neca masks up there. It's from part 3. From part 4, part 5. That's the remake, reimagining from 2009. Wow. And there's the video game figure or mask. And then I got a bunch of masks from 13X Studios. Just going to kind of quickly blow through these. Those are really good. I love those masks. And then if we go back over this way, I have the Savage World figures. These are supposed to look like the He-Man Masters of the Universe. The top one is Jason, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Pinhead, and Michael Myers. And then I have a couple more blister packs here. I have Leatherface from TCM 3. There's from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that is also from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I gotta get behind my entertainment center here. I have Chop Top, played by Bill Moseley from part 2. One of the best characters ever. Freddy Krueger with the cloth clothing. It's a beautiful piece. I love it. And from Day of the Dead, I have Bub. I don't know if you guys can see that. I have a couple masks up here. So that was it, guys. That is my horror figure collection. I do have a couple of totes down here that are full of Walking Dead figures. If I were to show those in this video, it would be like a day long. So you guys tell me if you're interested in seeing the Walking Dead figures. I can do that in a completely different video, but I probably have, I don't know, 60 or 70 figures in 2 different totes. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what I'm missing in my collection. What do I need to add? Tell me what are some of your favorite figures. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit hashtag Sinatra in the comments section. It lets me know you guys watch these videos all the way through. I appreciate your time as always. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.